What's going on, everyone? It's your boy Thriller with the PUDL draft analysis. If you guys are excited for this draft analysis, definitely hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe if you're new. Join the Thrill Crew today because you'll be thrilling with the king of the crew. And now I know what everyone's saying. Thriller, stop joining leagues. Focus on what you have to focus on. I'm sorry, I already committed to this league. I'm hoping I don't have to make any drops. I'm hoping I can still stay committed. But in terms of showdown, the low tier one we're doing is for fun. I'm not taking that too seriously. I'm just gonna play my battles and play. This one I think is the one I'm taking serious. I don't remember any other leagues else there. But I want to have some fun, and I won't lie, I definitely misread the application. I thought this was going to be a low tier league, but I think I must have really misread it and didn't really pay attention to it with the low tier Terra options. And I definitely think I didn't read that correctly. So, but I signed up for the league, so I will commit to playing in the league that I have signed up for. So, definitely not going to go back on my word. I will play in the league that I want, that I'm going to play in. So, but so basically, this is a standard Paldea Dex draft league, except again, Pokemon from 10 points and under can Terra, some Pokemon being Terra banned. Now, there was a unique ruling that was placed in place, which is kind of a confusing ruling, but it makes sense. It makes sense how it's worded, but at the same time, I don't know if I like this rule. But we didn't pick up a Pokemon, and I don't think really anyone picked up Pokemon that were from this. So basically, there's a ruling here where you can either use the complex ban on the Pokemon, but you can't tear that Pokemon. So, for example, Blaziken is in like 9 points, and it's not allowed to speed boost. However, if you grab Blaziken as a Terra Captain, you actually have a choice to either be Terra with your Blaziken, or you can be speed boost, which means you can get a cheap freaking Blaziken for 8 points or 9 points. You just can't Terra it. You would have the choice to either tear it or not tear it. Now, obviously, if someone tries to purposely use Speed Boost Blaziken for 9 points, I think they would get disqualified, which I think is something that needs to be clarified, whoever has the Speed Boost Blaziken. But that one just ranting. Basically, if you want to use either these abilities or these moves on Pokemon, you can use them, but you're not allowed to tear them if they are your Terra Captain. So, that's gonna be something that's gonna be a little complicated to deal with. So I'm hoping we can get through that, and hopefully we can just kind of not have to worry about that really as much. But like I said, I don't think anyone really drafted any of the complicated stuff except maybe Blaziken, I think. But we'll go from there where we go from there. But I had the 14th pick. Basically, a fun way the draft order was done was that the owner of the league, Kaz, Kaz, Um, he actually did this little marbles racer thing, and we really did not do good. Our marble did so bad that we got the 14th pick. I still think I walked away with some pretty powerful things, and I actually made sure I sniped a couple of people on some stuff. So that made me feel a little good. But this team's a little more different. I think I have a little bit more towards a little bit bulky-ish slash offensive, which is a little bit of my style, but there's a lot of Pokemon here that I have not tried yet that I'm going to be excited. Mons I have never thought I would try, and then Mons I am excited to try. As you can tell by my first pick, we brought back It's a Rock, my boy Iron Boulder. Now, last time I used Iron Boulder, it tied for Kill Leader of the season, which was amazing. This Pokemon was so good. I felt like I used it very well. I think obviously I could have done a little bit more with it if it didn't have such a bad webs gimmick and relied on webs possibly. But this was still a fantastic Pokemon. It was one of the best Pokemon we had, and I think I proved why. Even if it's not a Terra Captain, this is a Pokemon that you have to respect and like. And it's just a Pokemon that's awesome, man. I love Boulder. It was such a great mon. I'm actually very surprised it was able to make it to me. But a lot of people made some weird, questionable picks. Like someone picked Volcarona in the first round, but again, I think some people make their picks based on the fact that they're probably not going to get it if they don't grab it, which makes sense. Now, to pair with Boulder, I really wanted to get something that can really help deal with some of the steel types that we can kind of struggle with. and also kind of maybe take on some of the ghost and dark type Pokemon that we're gonna also struggle with. And that I actually picked up Chi-Yu. Like I said in I think I might have said something in like my talk near the end of our JDDL season. Chi was not a bad Pokemon. I feel like maybe there were some weeks I could have used it better and brought different items on it. So this is going to be my official like, is Chi going to be my type of Pokemon, or can I just not work with this Pokemon and it's going to be garbage? I'm not going to use it anymore type of Pokemon. So very much looking forward to trying Chi-Yu again. And Chi-Yu, like, I don't really need to talk too much about, but it's a good Pokemon with its ability. It can easily one shot, two shot everything with specs. And this Pokemon has great versatility. I think a lot of people don't see. And I think overall it's a solid Pokemon. Now, can I use it well? We'll have to just wait and find out. But overall, integrate Pokemon. Now, this was a Pokemon I actually am legitimately surprised made it back to me in round three because I wanted a really good powerful 1-2 punch to pair off really well, and I wanted another one that could really help with the water weakness that we have with Redshirt first two picks, but also kind of cover a bit of a also kind of cover a couple other things. Another thing being a ground weakness, and I will say right now that the ground weakness on our team is a little bit too much for my liking, but we can work with it. But with the next Pokemon, we picked up Ogerpon Wellspring, and this is a Pokemon I am super excited to try. We're naming it Asuka, based off of the wrestler of the WWE superstar Asuka, the Japan superstar. She has multiple mask personalities, so Asuka was also a fitting name when I saw someone mention this name at first. So, but Ogerpon is super great. Now, obviously, it is a little bit of a hindrance, so we're stuck with the Wellspring mask, and people are going to know that our max speed is always going to be around the 110 marks. But this is a Pokemon that does not care. Water Grass, very good offensive dual typing, which again has very little switchings to anyway, so which that is really great. Water Absorb, a great ability to pair off with our team right now, which is really great. Neutral to electricity, which is actually really good, and neutral to fire. Um, is not the worst thing, but is something that now precious we can't fully switch into fire types unless these fire types are not the strongest fire types. But overall, Wellspring is a really good Pokemon. I am super excited to try it. Spiky Shield is really great. Spikes is really good on this thing. Encore Strats is really good as well. Overall, this is a solid Pokemon. I'm very excited to try it. Heart Flame, I think I could have used a little bit better when I had it the first time, but I still think Heart Flame's great. This is now Wellspring's time to shine and see if it can prove to me why it's good. So here's going that. Pairing that off with the fourth round, again, I didn't really think about grab. I wanted to make sure I grabbed a really good grounded poison to make sure toxic spikes were going to be something there. But I also really wanted to grab a good fighting resist on this team because fighting is looking like a little bit of a problem with my typing, and I really don't need to be dealing with that. So I actually picked up Pecharunt, aka Mochi Mochi, because you guys know in the epilogue story, everyone keeps screaming Mochi Mochi. This is a fantastically good defensive Pokemon. This thing is designed to just be defensive. It can be offensive and it can be set up to be offensive. What's really great about it is that it's toxic, which it can never miss because it's a poison type. Malignant Chain is fantastic as well. 50% chance to poison the target, never missing as well, which is huge. There are so many defensive strat ideas. I've seen Amel use this thing, and he's an absolute demon of a monster with this mon. Never let Amel draft this Pokemon. But this is a Pokemon that I think can always be able to take on its defensive checks relatively well. It can beat some of its defensive checks as well, and just beat some of its counters as well. So overall, it's just a great Pokemon. I'm very excited to use Pecharunt. I've never really tried to experiment or even try this thing, so very excited to see how we go with it. Now, coming into rounds 5 and 6, we picked up two Pokemon that I have never used. One that I did somewhat pick up, but never got really a chance to shine with, but one that I get to use Terra with, and I am super excited for that. And then one Pokemon that I have bashed on and said it's terrible, it's bad, but I've never tried it. Plus, I felt like what it offered to the team was really great. That Pokemon being Skarmory, aka Rusty. We've got Skarmory here. Now, this is a Pokemon I have never attempted to try or use. This is a Pokemon that I felt like it's just not me. It's not what I like. But I want to kind of be a little bit more different with this. I want to use Skarmory a little more differently, how people want to use it. I want to try to make Skarmory like an offensive Pokemon. I want to try to see if we can get Skarmory to do some really cool stuff with things like Iron Press, Bite Press, stuff like that. So But also, what's really great about Skarmory, it gives me access to Spikes and Stealth Rock, which is really great. No access to Defog, which does make it a little bit useless of a Pokemon, if you want my opinion. But overall, this is a Pokemon that can kind of do a lot of things for you in terms of defensive aspect. And it's also a Pokemon that can just take hits, which is really, really great. Access to Sturdy is really nice, but one of the cool things I want to try to use is, again, this Weak Armor set. I want to try to make Skarmory a cool looking Pokemon this season around. I want to try to use it to be a lot more different and hopefully use it well. So, very excited to try this thing finally. Hopefully, it does not fail me and hopefully, it does not force me to drop it after the 3 week mark because, like I said, I don't make transactions when I draft my teams going forward for this year at least. Because that's one of my draft league New Year's resolutions is to just stick with Pokemon I'm using until week 3 is over or until the process of week 3, and then if I want to make changes, I'll make changes. But coming to round 6, I got Cyclezar and I sniped like several people on this, and I am so glad that I picked it up. This has been a Pokemon I have been dying to try. For those that don't know, I've been actually doing some mocks with my good buddy Jason, aka Diet Tight the Goat, and I have seen him do mocks with this Pokemon, and Terra with this Pokemon is just so much fun. I think the options of what can be really creative with this Pokemon is really great, and just overall it has some fantastic abilities. Access to Shed Skin, so he can kind of shake off that status at some point, which is great. Which is great. We have Regenerator, which is also really great. Um, Cyclozar, I don't know what name I'm gonna name him just yet, but for is gonna be one of our 3 Terra Captains. We need to go for the maximum of 3 Terra Captains that you can get. And we are only allowed 3 Terra types per Pokemon. One has to be a stab type, and the rest have to be any typing you want. I decided to stick with normal. Normal because of an option of the fact that we actually get this move right here. And I was seeing that cook against me and Marshall Jason, and that is something that I would like to try. Also, normal is just a generally good unresisted typing besides just normal and besides ghost and ghost and steel. And steel we have so many good checks too. And Ghost, we kind of struggle a little bit with that, but again, we could just run a coverage move where we can hit it, and that's fine. This is just overall a strong Pokemon, and I really like the options that it offers. Fire was just a really good defensive typing, which also plays good offensively. Same with Fairy, again, a decently good enough defensive typing, but again, plays very good offensively as well. Counteract some of those Dragon and Dark types that we would kind of struggle a tiny bit against. But also, it helps with, and fire also just really helps with dealing with, again, steel types, which we don't have too much counterplay towards at the moment. So, very happy to have Cyclezar. Also, having, again, like that Rap Spinner is really good. Up next, I picked up Vikavolt, aka Vika Shot, and I want to try and use this thing again, but without Terra. I think with Terra, it has such great potential. It really does. I think I just didn't use it with Terra very well. So I want to try it without Terra. I want to see how well we can do with this Pokemon without it. One of the big reasons I drafted this Pokemon was against Sticky Webs. Web's offense, again, for me, but this time I think I built a better team around Web's offense. But basically, this is a Pokemon that is going to force boots. It forces removal to be brought every single week. Vikavolt is such a super strong Pokemon. Literally, you just need to run dual stab plus a grass coverage and Sticky Webs. You can literally run that every single week and just not care. This is a Pokemon that is very much unresisted as well, and also can be a great offensive breaker without needing to be a Sticky Web user. And it literally could just slap on specs and then just be a Sticky Webber, switch out, and then just take on specs hits for the rest of your opponent to deal with. So overall, a fantastic Pokemon and another ground immunity right now, which is really good. But if you can also look at my team, I only have one fire resist right now, and that is not really the best thing on this team. So I kind of prioritize getting some fire resistances in my last couple of picks. So, but I picked up something fun though. In round 8. Yes. In round 8, your boy picked up Head Smash himself, Rampardo. Shouts to the Veneral of Team Playmore because they inspired me to make this pick. And I'm super happy, man. I really am so excited to try this Pokemon, man. This is a Pokemon that has so much potential, and I really want to force myself to bring it if I can to most weeks. But again, Cyclozar is going to be the thing. But I love Oh, excuse me. I love Rampardos, man. This is a Pokemon that, with Terra, I think has gotten so much better now and makes it more draftable. And we went with the terror types of rock, grass, and ground. So the Beneral did. Ground is just a really good offensive stab type, uh, just to really start punching holes for a lot of teams. Grass were kind of defensive, but also access to Trailblaze, so boosted Trailblazes, which is really good. And then, of course, Head Smash Baby with Terra Rock. Adamant Choice Banded Rampardos with Terra Rock. Legitimately Oko's everything. There's maybe only like like less than 5 Pokemon that can actually be 2 KO'd by this thing. And with webs, this thing is an absolute monster. This thing is so hard to switch into. And I can always read what switch-ins you can make into this Pokemon and just take advantage of that as well. This is just a Pokemon that is just going to be so much fun, man. I am so looking forward to using Rampardos this season. It is going to be a fun Pokemon. Now, again, Rampardos was kind of there to slightly patch up a rock weakness, but I wanted to get a full-on fire immunity, and I didn't have a fairy type yet, and all the best fairies go. I won't lie, I could have easily scooped up a really good fairy or a decent enough fairy at some point in this draft, but I didn't do that. But I ended up picking up Dash Bun, which I don't remember if I've ever drafted. I might have drafted it once, but never used it. But Dashbot, I think it's a decent enough berry for this team. Gives me a decent speed tier, 95, which is really good. And I think a lot of people sleep on Dashbot. I think Dashbot has some uniqueness towards it. It has access to body press, which can counteract the steel types that it kind of takes on. Access to play rough, of course. But obviously, access to a couple of coverage moves, and such as Alluring Voice, which you take advantage of, which is really nice. Facade, which is decent enough. The Elemental Fangs, which is really strong. Psychic Bangs to get rid of screens, which is really great. Ground coverage for steals, which is really great. And Trailblaze. And again, it's a wisher, not the greatest wish user, but hey, any wish user will do for a team. And again, like I said, I primarily drafted this thing to have a fire immunity, so that way I can have no resistance there. And also, it's a really good Will-O-Wisp Absorber as well to take free advantage of that. So overall, not the best stats, but it's a decent enough Pokemon, and I'm really hoping that I can try to be able to use this thing quite a bit and hopefully have some fun with it. It's going to be a really interesting Pokemon, so hoping to have some fun with it. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I don't know why this thing is sitting in round 10, but I had the points, and I want you all to know this was between Latias, which would have ended my draft, and this Pokemon. And I primarily went with this one for two reasons. One, I could actually get myself a decent enough 1 point Terra Captain that I could see myself bringing in at least a week or two, possibly, which I felt was really important. And two, this gave me more of a removal option, which can really take off the load off Cyclozar, which I think can really be nice. And again, it's makes it funny for this video, but I got a round 10 Terapagos. I don't know how I got this round 10. I don't know what made people thought like this was a good idea to get this round 10, but it's what it is. First off, I already know how you're supposed to build this Pokemon so on Showdown, so I know how to work with this mon, which is great. But this Pokemon I have used once before. You guys have seen me use it before. I I did like it the one time we used it. I don't know if it was anything too crazy. It was obviously, I think, like my top three or top four best Pokemon on my roster, obviously. But I don't know if I felt accomplished with it. So I'm hoping to feel pretty accomplished with this Pokemon. I'm really hoping that we can do a lot with this Mon and just hopefully be able to do some good work with it and hopefully prove why you shouldn't have let it sit there on the bottom of the half of the board there when it was round 10. But this is a Pokemon that, with broken multi-scale is just super good, and I'm just super looking forward to trying this Pokemon again. And hopefully having some fun with it again. I think also under web it's going to be disgusting. Like it's a Pokemon like I literally just run specs on this episode. We can just not care. And with our last one, we had 1 point left over, and I felt like, you know what? I know some people say it's not the best to kind of stretch out your draft, but this was a 1 point Terra Captain that I think makes a lot of sense for this team. And I think under Webs actually can do a lot of work, and that is going to be Dragonair with Dragon, Normal, and Steel. Now, Dragon, just because this gives me a pure Dragon typing, so we're giving me the Dragon typing on Cycles are normal because of extreme speed, and Steel is just a really good defensive Terra typing against fairy types, which I think is really good. But overall, this is a really cool Pokemon. Access to Shed Skin is a really great ability. Marvel Scale is also a very good ability as well. Where again, if I get status, my defenses actually are increased, which is really great. So, but overall, it's a really good Pokemon. And again, I think under Webs, this thing could actually be a low key threat. if not prepared correctly for. So overall, I think this is a really cool Pokemon, a really nice Terra Captain. I think the Dawn would approve since the Dawn got like how many kills with it in just 2 games they brought it. So but yeah, that's gonna be the team, ladies and gentlemen. And I feel pretty a little bit indifferent about it. I think it's a lot of stuff that I don't really normally draft. It's a lot of stuff I haven't tried yet, which I'm really excited for, and a lot of potential that's right here. So I'm hoping I do well with this team, and I'm hoping I play well with this team. But with that being said, that is going to be it for this draft analysis. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like, comment down below, subscribe if you're new, and with that, I will see you guys for when week 1 starts. I believe on Monday. And so I'm very much looking forward to the season and hopefully we have some fun. But with that being said, thank you for watching, like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.